with Tom Burrell. Tom, you've been on television and you've been in this struggle, and we met many, many, many years ago. And I would like for you to explain to our public and the farmers and many of our listening public as to what is the impact of the Chevron decision. And I'd also like for you to also discuss briefly what is the impact that our Black leadership has had, if any, on this
40-page
issue.
application allowed individuals who were, as you noted, discriminated against. What USDA said is when an heir, let me back up, and I'm going to use me and Corey. And let's say that in 1985, Tom Burrell, a farmer, and Corey Lee were farming, and we alleged that we were discriminated against. Now in 2022, here comes Section 2207 that says if a farmer was discriminated against, he is eligible for the $2.2 billion. Excuse me again. Now, Tom and Corey were both farmers. Unfortunately, Tom passed away in 2020. Are you following me now? So therefore, even though we were both farming in the relevant year, 1985, Corey goes to fill out the 40-page application. He is alive. He can fill the application out. Thomas's daughter, who is now going to file on behalf of me, as it were, even though I'm now deceased, they would not, excuse me again, Julio. Okay, good deal. Yeah, I will get with you just a second. Guys, you got to excuse me. Now, my daughter goes to file on behalf of Tom Burrell. We were both farmers, okay? They told my daughter, well, it's only for the people who are alive. And therefore, if your father were alive, he could file. But because he is deceased, you can't file on his behalf. Does that the most basic and fundamental rights that the African American has, and that was given to them after the 13th Amendment in 1865. A year later, in 1866, we received what we now refer to as civil rights. The first civil right was the right to inherit property, was the right to own land, was the right to hold property, was the right to lease property. This is how Black folks bought 16 to 20 million acres in the first instance because of the passage of that law. Now, what's relevant here is how can you, on the one hand, say you are a civil rights person, and when a person says, I'm going to deny your descendants the right to inherit property, man, the white community would be livid. There is no way, no other nation on the planet, when they hear you are going to deny my child, that's the essence of the Constitution. We just celebrated the 4th of July. 248 years ago, that's precisely what Jefferson and Franklin and the other framers were arguing, that the crown in China, in Great Britain, would not allow us to enjoy those fundamental human rights. The right to own land and to inherit land is an inalienable right. So therefore, when any institution or individual says that I'm going to deny your children, your grandchildren, if you're ever going to get a lantern and a pitchfork, that's the time to do it. How can you be a civil rights leader or even advocate for Black farmers? Sheryl Sherrod, John Boyd, you're a civil rights person and you're going to participate in a process that is going to deny the sons and daughters and the grandsons and the granddaughters of the proceeds and the fruit of the labor, the sweat and tears of their fathers and ancestors? I mean, that's an indictment in and of itself, not only of the Black leadership. How can any person, any organization, purport to be in favor of black farmers, but I'm not going to allow your son. We're all going to leave this planet. That's a given. The question is, I should rest in the notion that whatever I've worked for is going to go to my heirs. Know that the county committee system in and of itself basically was unconstitutional in that it allowed a competitor of a borrower. Let me go back to my McDonald's example. McDonald's needs to borrow money to build a new store, a restaurant. But it goes to the bank, and on that bank, the chairman of the lending committee is the president of Burger King, and his aide is Wendy's. You actually think McDonald's is going to get that loan? On its face, sir, that was unconstitutional. Now think about it again. You are a civil rights organization, and you never filed. Now, if I'm wrong, and I have scoured and searched and read virtually every major landmark Supreme Court case, from Brown to Browder to the NAACP versus Budden in Virginia, but you name it, and I never run across a lawsuit that was filed to help one black farmer save his farm.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much.